Hello guys, welcome back to the VDC space. So today we're going to be modeling a portal frame or a structural warehouse in Revit. Now, on our previous tutorial, we did a structural warehouse, but the level of detail was low. Remember, I mentioned we were doing LOD 300. For those who don't know, LOD stands for level of detail, which is the amount of detail you can include on your BIM model. In this instance, we're going to take things further. We're going to include connections. That's why the title starts with LOD 500. So it's going to be level of detail 500. Now, before I get started, I would like to ask you guys to please like, subscribe, and share. If you are new, hit that. If you are new, hit that notification button. If you already subscribed, hit that notification button. And yeah, thank you again, guys, for being subscribers. And also, if you want exclusive tutorials, you can just join my membership. There are different tests that suit your need. And also, if you want these project files, you can actually subscribe to my Patreon for $3 a month. You can get all my project files. Some of them are free, some of them are included in different sets of tiers. Now, without further ado, let's start with our project. So we're going to open up a new construction template. So after this, I'm just going to uncheck this and let's just expand our views and elevations because it's going to be a large project. So I'm going to offset it like this. And it's going to be 40,000. I'm just going to increase my scale on my view plane. I'm going to make it 200. Perfect. So the next thing is I'm just going to go to my south elevation. Before I do that, let's just select this and then extend our views on all sides so that we can see the entire structure on different elevations. So on my south elevation, I'm just going to press zoom and extend. On my south elevation, I'm going to start with this level. I'm going to name it 00 dash and then foundation. Press enter and say yes. And then this one is going to be 01 dash, and then this one is going to be surface bed. Say yes, and then I'm going to reduce it. I'm going to make it 500 millimeters. So after this, I'm going to place another level. So this level, I'm going to offset it by 18,000 millimeters. And then I'm going to copy another one further by 1,500 millimeters. So this one is going to be 02 dash, and then Eve, say yes, and then the last one is going to be 03 dash, and then roof. Perfect. Another thing, let's just press UN for units. We're going to change things. I'm going to work with meters and round off to 3 decimal places and say okay. Perfect. Now I'm going to go to views. Under views, I'm going to go under plan views, structural plan, and then I'm going to select all of these and say okay. So we're going to work with structural plan. So I'm going to close this down, structural plan, and start at foundations. Now I'm going to establish my grids, go to architecture. Under data, I'm going to go with the grids and then place your first grid like this. And I'm going to name this one A. And then I'm going to select my grids again, pick lines, and then I'm going to offset this one by 30,000 millimeters. And then offset another one by 30,000 millimeters. Now we have A, B, and C. Select my grid again, place another one like this. So this one, I'm going to name it 1. So we're going to have 19 grids running in this direction. So I'm going to go with grid, pick lines, and then offset it by 5,000 millimeters. Let's make it 10,000. So it's going to be 10. Actually, let's say 5. Okay, yeah, 5. So I'm going to place it like this: 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So let's just move this view and extend these grids. So we have 19 of them, and this is perfect. Now it's time to add our families, our components. So I'm going to go into insert, load family, metric library, and then I'm going to go with structural foundation and then pad foundation rectangular. And then I'm going to say open. So the one I'm going to go with is 1005 by 1005 by 1000. So I'm going to go to structure, under foundation. I'm going to select isolated foundation, and then I'm going to place it at grids. And then I'm going to select all my grids. It's going to detect where the grids are intersecting, and then I'm going to say finish. But I don't want my foundations, I want my foundations and my elements to be placed at an increment of 10,000 millimeters. So I'm just going to select these ones. This, say filter, check none, structural foundations, okay, and then I'm gonna remove them like this. This is perfect. And what I'm going to do in this instance is I'm just gonna remove these grids. I don't think I have use for them. So I'm gonna remove these grids. So I think that's fine. And the next thing is we're gonna load in our structural columns, load family, metric library, structural columns, steel, British standards, and then we're going to go with universal beams and columns and say open. And then the one we're going to go with is 610 by 229 by 101. So it's going to be this one. 610, 229, 101. Structure, under structure, you're going to go with column. Make sure you set up your constraints. You're going to set this to height and then this to if. So you're going to set it to if. And then you're going to select add grids and then you're going to place it at your grids. And then you're going to say finish. And let's just set this to fine because the level of detail affects how the columns structural members are displayed. So if you open up the 3D view, this is how it looks. You're going to select one column, right click, select all instances visible in view, and then you're going to press tab on your keyboard to change its orientation. Now the next thing is just select your levels, right click, and then maximize 3D extend. Do the same thing for other levels, and this is what you have. So the next thing is we're gonna go to the south elevation, change your level of detail to fine, and this is what we have. So the next thing is we're gonna place our beams or our rafters. So in order for us to do that, we have to place like something as a reference in the middle so that we can place them so that they become more clean when we place them. So I'm gonna place a temporary reference plane right in the middle like this, and then I'm gonna offset it at 15,000 millimeters. So I'm going to select it, mirror peak axis, mirror it towards the other side. And then I'm going to load in my rafters, load family, metric library, go to structural framing, steel, British standards, universal beams, open. And then the one we're going to load in is 533 by 533 by 210, sorry, by 92. Say open. Override existing version and its parameters, and then we're gonna go with structure, beam. We're gonna set our reference to grid one. So remember, if I go to foundation, grid one is this one. So we're gonna set it up like that, and then we're gonna place our beams. So from this point to the middle point, and then also this side to this side, and then it's gonna clean itself like this. So I'm gonna select this, go to the foundation, and then I'm gonna copy from this grid, and then I'm gonna copy them to the other grids like this. So I'm gonna go to the 3D view, select one, right click, select all instances visible in view, and then I'm going to change the type to 533, the one we have basically loaded in. Go to the south elevation while they are still selected, mirror pickaxes, mirror them towards the other side. And this is what we have. Now, the next thing is we're gonna have to place our side rails, our bracings, and our purlins. So I'm gonna start with my purlins. So for our purlins, I'm gonna go to the south elevation. Before I do anything, I'm gonna load them in. So metric library, structural framing, steel, and then British standards. I'm gonna go with PFC, parallel French channels, and then I'm gonna load them in. So the one we're gonna go with is 150 by 75 by 90, sorry, by 24. And then after that, I'm gonna go to architecture. Go to roof by extrusion, and then I'm gonna say okay. And then I'm gonna place a line right on top of our rafters like this, which is gonna extrude. And then I'm gonna select roof generic 125 millimeters and say finish edit mode. Go to the roof level, and then as you can see, this is what we have. So I'm just gonna change the level of detail to fine, and then I'm gonna drag this roof towards this grid, this side, and it's on this grid, this side, so I think it's fine. So after this, I'm gonna go to structure, beam system, and then we're gonna place our beam system. I'm gonna set my work plane to the top of this roof. So our purlins are gonna be placed at an angle by referencing the face of this roof. So I'm gonna place them like this. Okay, one thing I forgot to do is, let's just say cancel. I actually want my roof to end at the second grid, so I'm gonna end it right on this point. Go to the 3D view again, beam system, and say pick lines. So I'm gonna pick these lines. Let's just say undo, set my reference, pick a plane, pick this plane. And then as you can see, this line indicates where your beams are gonna be running or the direction of your beams. So let me just set this to wireframe. So I'm gonna select this face of the roof, this side, and then this side, and also this side. Say I'm gonna shade it again, and then I'm gonna say trim and extend. Finish edit mode, and then I'm gonna increase the number of this. So I'm gonna say fixed number under our patterns, our constraints. I'm gonna set them to 8. Actually, let's set them to 10 instead. Let's see with 12. I'm gonna increase the number of them. So I think 12 is fine. And then after this, you're gonna go to the south elevation, set this to wireframe, and then you're gonna select your beam system. Let's just select our beam system on the 3D view, go to the south elevation, and then when you go up under beam system, you're gonna say remove beam system so that you can move these beams freely when you move them up. So you're gonna select this roof, and then you're gonna nudge it upwards like this, and then these are gonna move, your purlins are gonna move along with your roof. So you're gonna adjust it like this until they become they be so that they can be placed perfectly on top of your rafters. Now you can remove your roof, select one purlin, right click, select all instances visible in view, and then you're going to say mirror pickaxes, select this reference line, and they're going to be copied towards the other side. And then you're going to select, right click again, select all instances visible in view, go to the roof plan and say copy, and then you're going to copy them towards the other base. So this is generally how it looks. So you're going to select all of these, right click, and actually let's just leave it at that because you're going to use the same purlins or for the side railings. So if I want to copy them, I want to select all of them and then copy them to this other portal frame. So we are done with our purlins generally, and the next thing is we're going to place our side railings and bracings. So now for our side railings, we're going to go to the south elevation again, and we're going to go with architecture under roof by extrusion, say okay, and then we're going to place a vertical line right next to our steel column like this. Make sure it's roof generic 125, and then you're going to say finish edit mode, and then you're going to open up the west elevation, and then you're going to drag this roof towards this grid, and then it's fine on this side. And then go to the 3D view. On the 3D view, you're going to say structure beam system. You're going to you're going to place your placement plane on the face of this roof like this. And then you can say pick lines, and then you're going to pick these lines. Let's just set this to wireframe. Now it's time to place our side railings. So make sure you pick the sides of your roof like so. So this line indicates the direction of our side railings. I think it's fine. I'm going to set this to shaded, set this to fixed number, and then we're going to have, let's say, 8 of them. Make sure your beam type is the parallel flange that we have placed. So it's going to be set like this. Go to the south elevation, and this is essentially how it looks. So we're going to remove this roof, and if you go to the 3D view, this is essentially how it looks. This is perfect. So we're going to select this beam system, go to the west elevation. On the west elevation, we're going to copy them towards the other base. Base as in BAYS. So we consider these spaces base. Now it's placed like this, and this is what we have. Okay, now the next thing is we're gonna have to place our bracings. So for our bracings, I'm gonna go to the west elevation. On the west elevation, I'm gonna go to insert and say load family, metric library, structural framing, steel, and then British standards. We're gonna go with circular hollow section and say open. And then the one we're gonna load in is 139 by 12.5, which is this one. Is 139.7 by 12.5 and say okay. And then you're gonna go to structure, beam, and then set your reference to grid A and say okay. Remember, when you go to your floor plan, grid A is this one, and we want to place our bracings using this reference. Go to the west elevation. We're gonna start from, before we place them, let's just select the reference plane. Then we're gonna set our offset to 500 millimeters, 0.5, and then we're gonna place it like this at the offset of 0.5, and then also this side we're gonna place it like this, and this is where we're gonna start our bracings. So go back to structural framing or your beam. You're gonna start from this point and then place it like that. Place another one from this point and then place it like that. Or you can just remove this, place another reference plane. I'm gonna place another reference plane in the middle like this, so that we can place four different members for our bracings. So I'm going to use the middle as our reference, place it like that, and I'm going to go to beam again, start from this point, place it like this, start from this point, place it like that, start from this point, and then place it right in the middle like that, and then start from this point, place it like that. So I'm going to select all these beams and then set my Y justification. I think it's fine at the origins. I'm going to set my Z justification to origins. So let's just clean them up. I'm going to place them properly this time from beam, from this point to this point, from this point to this point, from this point to this point, from this point to this point. I think that's fine. So we're gonna select these four members, and then I'm gonna copy them towards the third bay and fifth bay, seventh bay, and then the last one. So if I open up the 3D view, this is how it looks. Perfect. Okay, so generally we are done when it comes to placing our members. So I'm gonna select all my plugins, right click, select all instances visible in view, go to the south elevation, and then I'm gonna say mirror pickaxes. I'm gonna copy them towards the other side by mirroring them. And obviously we have to fix this. This one, okay. So I'm gonna select these ones like this. Go to filter, check none, structural framing, okay. And then I'm gonna change my cross section to -90, or let's say 90. And they're gonna be fixed like this, perfect. Go to the 3D view and this is what we have. Now for our bracings, I'm gonna select one circular hollow section, select all instances visible in view, go to south elevation, mirror pickaxes, mirror them towards the other side. Go to the 3D view, and this is essentially how it looks. Okay, now the final thing to do is to place our connections. So for the connections, we're gonna start with our base plates. And for the base plates, you can actually, let's just load our connections in. So I'm gonna press under connection, I'm gonna press this arrow, this symbol, and I'm gonna load in my connections. So I'm gonna select one, shift, select the last one, add them in, and say okay. Now for our base plates, I'm going to use Dynamo Player. So I'm going to go with connection automation. By the way, I'm using Revit 2024. So it takes a while to open Dynamo Player. So after it opens up Dynamo Player, we're going to use the base plate option to place our base plate. So you can scroll down, and the one we're going to choose the most basic one. So let's choose this one. Let's open up this one. No. Let's go back. Let's choose the first one. Okay, the first one is you're gonna have to select your steel member. So go to the south elevation, and then you're gonna say, let's see, steel elements, and then you're gonna scroll like this. Select all your columns. So there are 24 of them, and column beam type to add connections, and then I'm gonna go with. So these are my columns. So you're gonna select your columns, and I think everything else is fine. So everything else is fine. So I'm gonna say run, and then it's gonna run the script. After it runs the script, it's gonna automatically place your base plates where it's applicable. So if we go to the 3D view, run complete with warnings. So I'm gonna say VG, type in structural connections, drop down, and then select all of these, and then check these and say apply, and then okay. So our base plates did not generate. So let's see what has happened. New issues. So this is our column, and this is supposed to work. And let's see. Let's run it again. Okay, let's say back. Select this one. Now let's go back. I'm going to select the most basic one. Let's try with only one. Well, I think you actually have to. Okay, let's see. It initially worked, but that's fine. We can just select our connection, select these, drop down, select our base plate, press enter. So after that, after you press enter, it's going to generate your base plate. And this is what we have. So you're going to select it, go to edit type to modify it, and say modify parameters. So after you modify your parameters, you're going to go with base plate dimensions. So projection, you're going to change it from 250 to 0.5, which is 500 millimeters. And say OK, apply, and then OK. And then it's going to be extended like this. So let me just edit this again and just increase the size of our bolts. So let's go to where is our anchor nose, anchor dimension. I'm going to make it 24. And I think everything else is fine. Okay. Apply, and then okay. Okay, so I'm going to select this, right click. Obviously, we cannot propagate this, so it's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's open Dynamo Play again. So I'm going to go to connection automation again. Let's go with base plate. Then I'm going to say select. Go to the south elevation and say select. And then let's run it and see what happens. So there are still issues. Okay, let's go back and see what other options can we place. Go to the south elevation and check none, structural foundation, structural columns, and say okay. Say run. And let's see what happens. So there are still issues. 3D view. Okay, so I think that's fine. You can just use the traditional way, just and just go to connections, select your members, and say enter, and it's gonna automatically place your base plates. Unfortunately, it cannot propagate, which is a faster way of copying everything towards across. Initially, I've used dynamo player. I don't know why it's acting up right now, but you can try it from your side. Maybe it will work. So you can just say connections, select all these, enter, and say do the same thing for the other ones. So I'm essentially done with my base plates. I placed all of them, which was a tedious exercise. But anyway, so the next thing is we're gonna place connections with uh, when it comes to our columns and our rafters. So let's start with our rafters. So for our rafters, you're gonna select connections, select the two of these beams, scroll down, and then you're gonna go with apex hunch. Press enter, and it's gonna be refined like this. Select it, right click, and then propagate connections. After you propagate connections, it's gonna copy all of them towards these connections, towards where. So Revit is very intelligent in this sense. So after you propagate it, it's gonna copy them like this. And then we're gonna go with these ones. Let's go with connections, select the two of these ones, scroll down under your properties, and then we're gonna go with, just type in hunch. And then we're gonna go with this one, knee or frame bolted with hunch. Let's see what we have. Press enter. And this is what we have. I think this very much looks clean. So I'm going to select it, right click, propagate connection. Then it's going to copy them towards the other side. So it takes a while when you propagate to configure the connections, but you just have to be patient. Come on, come on. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And make sure you guys join my membership. It's a way of supporting my channel, and also you get exclusive tutorials. So in this instance, we're going to remove this one. Just go to the south elevation and remember VG at every view. Scroll down, structural connection. Check all of these, make them visible. And then you're just going to select all of these and say delete. And then after this, for the ones in the middle, for these ones, as you can see, they clash like this. So the way to fix this, you're going to go to the south elevation again, select all of these ones and say, okay, let's select this one, edit. Actually, let's remove them. So we're gonna select these ones. We're gonna delete these ones. Say undo. Let's remove the connection. Let's remove the connection. So I think that's fine like this. So what we're gonna do is these ones, these ones. So let's go back to the foundation, extend the view range for the south, place it like this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to connection again, select the two of these ones and say enter. Then we're gonna select it, edit. Then we're gonna go to edit, modify parameters. So under modify parameters, we're gonna have to remove, we're gonna have to adjust this one. So punch rafter, the side, we're gonna additional rafter, additional plate, end plate. So for the cap plate, I'm gonna say none. We're gonna remove it and say okay. So we're gonna remove the cap plate, and after that, you're gonna say apply and then okay. So it's gonna remove it And I'm gonna say connection, select these ones and say enter. Perfect. So we're gonna select these two, right click. Okay, select one, right click, propagate connection. And we're gonna do the same thing for this one, right click, propagate connection. Oh, I think it's gonna automatically place it. So let's see. One, it's gonna render. Okay, while it renders this side, let's place connections for our side railings. For our side railings, we're gonna go with connection again, select these three, and we're gonna scroll down. So I'm gonna type in single tertiary. So we're gonna make it a single tertiary. Let's check with the single tertiary. So this doesn't work, so I'm gonna select this one. And let's look for single tertiary angle. So, like I said, we're gonna actually, for the side railings, you're actually gonna go to connection and then select these two only. Drop down, then you're gonna type in single tertiary angle. So you're gonna select single tertiary angle and then press enter, and then it's gonna refine itself like this. So you're gonna select that connection, right click and say propagate connection. After you say propagate connection, it's gonna copy it towards the other members. So for the side railings, obviously there are a lot of them, so it's gonna take a while to refine and apply those connections towards those certain members. So yeah, this is what we have essentially. It's still generating. Okay, if you can go back, remember we managed to propagate this side, so it seems like it's fine. Remember, we propagated this side and moved on to our side railings. It seems like it's fine. Okay, so after the side railings, obviously we can move on towards the purlins. And for the purlins, we're gonna go with connection. Select the two purlins and the rafters, and let's see what we can get. So in this instance, let's see if we can type in vertical tertiary plate. I'm going to select it and press enter. Oh, the side railings are still generating, so we can't apply that connection yet. So we're gonna have to wait for them. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. So it finished placing those connections. Now we can move on to the purlins. So you're going to go with connection and you're going to select the three of these. And when you drop down, you're going to type in vertical. So you're going to choose this one, vertical tertiary plate, press enter. And then it's going to apply that connection there. So when you select this and navigate like this is essentially how it looks. So you're going to select this, right click, propagate connection, and those connections are going to be applied everywhere else. So it finished generating those connections for the purlins. Now the next thing is we're going to apply connections towards our bracings. But before we do that, we have to connect also our purlins right at the end. So I'm going to select connections and then this rafter, and then I'm going to go with I'm going to type in single tertiary angle and press enter. And this is what we have. So I'm going to right click and say propagate connection, and then it's going to propagate connections towards the other ones. So as you can see, it finished placing those connections. Now the last thing to connect is our bracings. So for our bracings, we are going to leave this part. We are not going to connect this part. We are just going to connect our bracings towards our columns. So I'm going to say connections, and I'm going to scroll down. And as you can see, we have different options. So I'm going to go with single tube brace angle and kidney hole. And press enter, and then it's gonna place this one, and I'm gonna select it, right click, and propagate connection, and obviously those connections are gonna be copied towards the other bracings. So luckily for bracings, it's not gonna take a lot of time, and we're gonna do the bottom ones. So connections, select this bracing, the column, and then the same connections, press enter, right click, propagate connection, and then they're going to be copied towards the other connections, the other members. There you go. This is what we have. So that's basically it. We have connected everything. We have connected our rafters, our purlins, our side rails, our bracings, our columns, and so on. We have our base plates. And this is it. This is a level of detail 500 structural warehouse or portal frame. Obviously, you can apply rebar towards these bases if you want, but this is essentially it. Very much valuable if you're under subcontractors or if you're under a manufacturing company. Produce one of these. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next tutorial. If you need this file, just subscribe to my Patreon. For $3 a month, you can get all my files for my tutorials. Peace.